Hi, in this video I will talk about the Prophet Surah, and starting from the verse 12. When our requital came to pass, they started to run. Do not run, and come back to your luxuries and more mansions, for you must be held accountable. They said, Woe to us, we were really wicked. This continued to be their proclamation, until we completely wiped them out. We didn't create the heavens and the earth, and everything between them just for amusement. If we needed amusement, we could have initiated it without any of this, if that is what we wanted to do. Instead, it is our plan to support the truth against falsehood, in order to defeat it. Woe to you for the utterances you utter. To him belongs everyone in the heavens and the earth, and those at him are never too arrogant to worship him, nor do they ever waver. They glorify night and day without ever tiring. Have they found gods on earth who can create? If there were in them other gods beside God, there would have been chaos. Glory be to God, the Lord with absolute authority. He is high above their claims. He is never to be asked about anything he does, while all others are questioned. Have they found other gods beside him? Say, show me your proof. This is the message to my generation, consummating all previous messages. Indeed, most of them do not recognize the truth. This is why they are so hostile. We didn't send any messenger before you except with the inspiration. There is no God except me. You shall worship me alone. Yet they say the most gracious has begotten us all. Glory be to him. All are honored servants. And in the Quran, as I mentioned before, the word servant was used, and generally the word people worship those people too. Unfortunately, they never speak on their own, and they strictly follow his commands. He knows their future and their past. They do not intercede except for those already accepted by him, and they are worried about their own necks. If any of them claims to be a god beside him, we requite him with the hell. We thus requite the wicked. Do the unbelievers not realize that the heaven and earth used to be one solid mass that we exploded into their existence, and from water we made all living things? Will they believe? And we placed on earth stabilizers, lest it tumbles with them, and be placed straight roads therein, that they may be guided. And we rendered the sky a guarded sailing, yet they are totally oblivious to all the portents therein. So, previously we see that there were things mentioned about believing and evidence, and then it starts to first mentioning the Big Bang and geography, and it's true that if the world is not stable, then there's a likelihood, and if there are no, and then we cannot live there. Like, let's assume that there are earthquakes happening every day, so we will die. We cannot live there, right? And we never think about it because we didn't feel like, we never live in such place that suffer from earthquakes that very often. And we render the sky a guarded sailing, yet they're totally oblivious to all the portents therein. So, and it is true that the sky is a guarded sailing, and if it is not, then we cannot live there. So the living is amazing, and there are many animals and vegetables that are giving for humans. And he's the one who created the night and the day, and the sun and the moon, each floating its own orbit. We never decreed immorality for anyone before you. Should you die, are they immortal? Every soul will taste that, after we put you to the test through adversity and prosperity. Then to us you ultimately return. When those who disbelieve see you, they ridicule you. Is this the one who challenges your gods? Meanwhile they remain totally heedless of the message from the Most Gracious. The human being is impatient by nature. I will inevitably show you my signs, so do not be in such a hurry. So I think it is personal for everyone to see the God's signs, and they challenge where is that retribution if you are truthful. If only those of disbelief could envision themselves when they try to ward off the fire of their faces and their backs. No one will help them then. Indeed, it will come to them suddenly, and they will be utterly stunned. They can neither avoid it, nor can they receive any respite. Messengers before you have been ridiculed, and consequently those who ridiculed them incurred the retribution of their ridiculing. Say, who can protect you from the most gracious during the night or during the day? Indeed, they are totally oblivious to the message of their Lord. Do they have gods who can protect them from us? They cannot even help themselves, nor can they accompany one another when they are summoned to face us. We have provided for these people and their ancestors up until an old age. Do they not see that every day on earth brings them closer to the end? Can they reverse this process? So this is important because we cannot reverse this process. So, and this is like a oxidative stress. It's related to the stress, and it's like an entropy law in the physics. So it is true that, and it cannot be reversed in the Quran, and we are totally aware of it. Now so many years have passed, and still we cannot reverse aging, and yeah, that is inevitable. Say I'm warning to you in accordance with divine inspiration. However, the deaf cannot hear the call when they are warned. When a sample of your Lord's retribution afflicts them, they readily say, we were indeed wicked. We will establish the scales of justice on the day of resurrection. No soul will suffer the least injustice, even the equivalent of a mustard seed will be accounted for. We are the most efficient reckoners. We gave Moses and Aaron the statute book and beacon and reminder for the righteous, the ones who reverence their Lord even when alone in their privacy, and they worry about the hour. This too is a blessed reminder that we sent down. Are you denying it? Before that we granted Abraham his guidance and understanding, for we were fully aware of him. He said to his father and his people, what are these statues to which you are devoting yourself? They said, we found our parents worshipping them. He said, indeed you and your parents have gone totally astray. They said, are you telling us the truth? Are you playing? He said, your only Lord is the Lord of the heavens and the earth, who created them. This is the testimony to which I bear witness. I swear by God, I have a plan to deal with your statues as soon as you leave. He broke them into pieces, except for a big one, so that they may refer to it. They said, whoever did this to our God is really a transgressor. So there's another thing here, that God cannot do anything to them. So they want to have a God that cannot harm them, and they can also satisfy their uh, themselves by worshipping. So why they can somehow stimulate, but they worship the wrong material, wrong thing. They said, we heard a Yod threatening them. He is called Abraham. They said, bring him before the eyes of all the people, that they may bear witness. They said, did you do this to our gods, Abraham? He said, it is that big one did it. Go ask them if they can speak. They were taken aback and said to themselves, indeed you are the ones who have been transgressing. Yet they reverted to their old ideas. You know full well that these cannot speak. He said, do you then worship besides God what possesses no power to benefit or harm you? You have incurred shame by worshipping idols beside God. Do you not understand? They said, burn him and support your gods, if this is what you decide to do. We said, O fire, be cool and safe for Abraham. Thus they schemed against him, but we made them the losers. We saved him, and we saved Lot. to the land that we blessed for all the people. And we granted him Isaac and Jacob as a gift, and we made them both righteous. So here we see that the fire doesn't affect Abraham. So it is important and interesting, and because previously it was mentioned as what God did in physics, and we see the miracle is somehow related to physics. We made them the imams who guided in accordance with our commandments, and we taught them how to work righteousness and how to observe the contact prayers and the obligatory charity. To us they were devoted worshippers. As for Lot, we granted him wisdom and knowledge, and we saved him from the community that practiced abominations. They were wicked and evil people. We admitted him into our mercy, for he was righteous. And before that, Noah called and we responded to him. We saved him and his family from the great disaster. So the Lot was also saved from the disaster. They were evil people, so we drowned them all. It's interesting that God's punishment in the world is not generally like with fire, and we say that it's generally like with drone, and it shows that how God is merciful actually, because God doesn't show the fire in the world, and God is providing justice for them. God is not unfair. And David and Solomon, when they once ruled with regard to someone's crop that was destroyed by another's sheep, we witnessed their judgment. We granted Solomon the correct understanding, though we endowed both of them with wisdom and knowledge. We committed the mountains to serve David in glorifying God as well as the birds. This is what we did. And we taught him the skill of making shields to protect you in war. Are you then thankful? And for Solomon we committed the wind, casting and blowing at his disposal. He could direct it as he wished to whatever land he chose, and we blessed such land for him. We are fully aware of all things. And of the devils there were those who would die for him, or do whatever else he commanded them to do. We committed them in his service. And Job implored his Lord, adversity has befallen me, and of all the merciful ones, you are the most merciful. We responded to him, relieved his adversity, and restored his family for him, even twice as much. That was a mercy from us, and a reminder for the worshippers. Also Ismail, Idris, Zulkaf, they all were steadfast, patient. We admitted them into our mercy, they were righteous. And Jonah, and abandoned his mission in protest, thinking that we couldn't control him. He ended up imploring from the darkness, there is no God other than you, be you glorified, I have committed a gross sin. We responded to him and saved him from the crisis. We thus saved the believers. And Zechariah implored his Lord, my Lord, do not keep me without an heir, though you are the best inheritor. We responded to him and granted him John. We fixed his wife for him. That is because they used to hasten the work righteousness and implored us in situations of joy as well as fear. To us they were reverent. As for the maintained her virginity, we believed into her from our spirit, and thus we made her and her son a portent of the whole world. Your congregation but one congregation, and I alone am your Lord. You shall worship me alone. However, they divided themselves into disputing religions. All of them will come back to us. As for those who work righteousness while believing, their work will not go waste. We are recording it. It is forbidden for any community we had annihilated to return. Not until Gog and Magog reappear will they then return. They will come from every direction. That is when the inevitable prophecy will come to pass, and the disbelievers will stare in horror. Woe to us, we have been oblivious. Indeed, we have been wicked. You and the idols you worship besides God will be filled for hell. This is your inevitable destiny. If those were gods, they wouldn't have ended up in hell. All its inhabitants abide in it forever. They will sigh and groan therein, and they will have no access to any news. As for those who deserved our magnificent rewards, they will be protected from it. They will not hear its hissing, They will enjoy an abode where they can get everything they desire forever. The great horror will not worry them, and the angels will receive them joyfully. This is your day that has been promised to you. On that day will fold the heaven like the folding of a book, just as we initiated the first creation, we will repeat it. This is our promise, we will certainly carry it out. We have decreed in the Psalms as well as in other scriptures that the earth shall be inherited by my righteous worshippers. This is a proclamation for people who are worshippers. We have sent you out of mercy us towards the whole world. Proclaim, I have been giving divine inspiration that your God is one God. Will you then submit? If they turn away, then say, I have warned you sufficiently, and I have no idea how soon or late it will come to you. He is fully aware of your public utterances, and he is fully aware of everything you conceal. For all that I know, this world is a test for you and a temporary enjoyment. Say, my Lord, your judgment is the absolute justice. Our Lord is the most gracious. Only his help is sought in the face of your claims.